Good evening and welcome to our first community forum for 2025. I'm your host, Byron Campbell. Our co-host, Chris Daly, of course, is not here with us this evening, and I'll tell you why in a moment. But I want to welcome you wherever you are on YouTube, Facebook, or in MTV Channel 18. I want to wish, of course, still just the 15th of January, so it's still a new year. I wish everyone a healthy, positive 2025, certainly. I want to use this opportunity here to express sincere condolences to Chris, my co-host, and his family on the passing of their daughter, Crystal. Crystal passed away earlier this month, so Chris is away. This happened, I believe, in the United States, so he will be joining us next week. But I just want to express our sorrow, our sympathies to his family from the management and staff of MTV, the operators, and all of us here. We're very sorry very sad about this development, and we want to wish Chris and his family the best, and we hope that they can move on in peace and in love with the passing of their daughter, Crystal. So Chris will be with us next week, hopefully. I want to also mention a couple of things before I introduce my guest. We take a short break and introduce our guest. Just a few things that have been developing. We understand that the Prime Minister and his delegation is in China, or would have a recent visit to China that we saw. I believe that's a good thing. I know the Prime Minister has been labeled for traveling too much, but this is an important trip. If you're invited to China to meet with the head of the People's Republic of China, that's a good thing. I understand too that some 13 cooperation agreement was signed. Excellent. We'll want to know when the delegation return what are the significance of these cooperation agreements and how Grenada will benefit from it and so on. So kudos to that. I think that's a worthwhile trip. China has been providing significant and important economic development support to Grenada, and I think this trip is certainly must be seen in that sense. So I think the Minister of Agriculture, Foreign Minister, and others are on this trip. Excellent, together with the Prime Minister. Today we are hearing of Israeli a ceasefire in Gaza. This couldn't come earlier. I understand that it's due to be implemented on the 19th. But at this time, after 46,707 people have been killed since October 23, most, not just unfortunate, but we have to see the genocide and the destruction and the horrors that have taken place in Gaza against the Palestinian people, and the implications of the United States in this. Just recently, they pledged another $8 billion of military assistance to Israel. So happy for this moment. Only yesterday, another 60 plus persons were killed by the Israeli army. So and what is going to happen in the next couple of days before the 19th. But this is a positive development, that finally there is a ceasefire, that there be some, not normalcy, but some return to civility in Gaza. Again, developments, we're hearing that today the United States, the Biden administration saying that they will remove Cuba from the list of state-sponsored terrorism. I mean, this is a joke, really. You wait on the last moment when you're leaving office to move this. You know that the hawks that are coming in the Trump 2.0 will clearly remove this. You look at who is contesting for the Secretary of State. But at this moment you do that. But we have to remember what the cruelty, the result of this embargo on Cuba. You have to look at it also in the context that when not just American companies, but any companies anywhere in a world that does business with Cuba are subject to sanctions by the United States government. So this has decimated, destroyed the Cuban economy. And the United Nations have been calling for, saying that this is illegal, it's an act against humanity. So we are hopeful, but clearly Biden, this timing is just ridiculous anyway. And finally, we have a new leader in the new National Party. This is Honorable Emily Pierre. We congratulate her. However, it happened. She is de facto political leader of the NNP, and Dr. Keith Mitchell is now the chairman. But to make this really happen, what has to be happening? Because we understand the role of the chairman of a party. The role of the chairman of a party is to deal with the finances, the organization of the party, its zonal meetings, council meeting. That's the workday of the chairman. The political leader is responsible for the politics. The parliament has to lead in the parliament. That's the primary where the politics is given. So you can't be the political leader of a party and not be the leader of the opposition. So we are waiting to what must happen is now Dr. Mitchell must relinquish. He must give up the position of leader of the opposition in the parliament and bestow that to the political leader of the party. This must happen. If you don't do that, it'll be seen as a farce. Nobody will take the results seriously. So we wait anxiously to see this particular development. And we're going to be talking about these issues a bit more next week and going forward. So these are just some of the things I want to state quickly. We have a very interesting program for you. It's most unusual. After the break, I'm going to introduce our guest, and we'll take it from there. So stay with us. We'll be right back. Thank you.
At Maitland's Motor Sales and Rentals, we sell engines for all makes of vehicles. Toyota GT Corolla 6-speed, Toyota MR2 and Evolution 3. We've got transmissions for Toyota Noah, 2.0 Suzuki Escudo, Toyota Corolla. Windscreens for Grand Vitara, 2 and 4-door Escudo, Toyota Corolla front and back, and Suzuki Escudo wheel covers. Also available are motor oil, oil filters, crystal headlights for Toyota Corolla, brakes for all makes of vehicles. We sell C16 and Q16 racing fuel. Special prices on oils and accessories for customers who purchase vehicles from us. You're never left undone because we source the part if we don't have it. Maitland's Motor Sales and Rentals, empowering people through mobility.
Okay, welcome back, viewers, and to MTV Community Forum. And as I told you, I have a very interesting program for you. And my guest, how do I introduce him? This guest is a cultural icon. He is well known. He has been in the cultural sphere since I know him, maybe over 40 years ago. He's been a poet. He is a poet. He's everything. He's a master of ceremonies. Well known. Let me introduce to you Michael Senator Mitchell. Good evening, Senator.
Good night, Byron. Nice to be in your presence, and nice to be talking to Grenada and by extension the rest of the world.
Yes, yes.
I'm no stranger to the stage.
Of course not. Senator, as I was saying, I mean, culture, is often viewed as a critical element of identity, creativity, innovation that we say can contribute to national development. How would you define culture's role in shaping Grenada's national identity? It's like, in what ways can culture drive creativity and innovation to help Grenada achieve its development goals?
But in actual fact, Byron, culture is a way of life of a people. And that way of life of a people must be highlighted in every aspect of our development. It bothers me that our young folk, the culture of the people seems to be that of the past, and we need to investigate, we need to research, and we need to keep that which belongs to us. There are certain things about our culture that is unique to Grenada per se.
Outline some of them for us. Well, what's unique? What's unique about our culture? Where is the uniqueness?
For example, okay, the job culture. I'm hearing everybody talking about job outside of Grenada now. Everybody want to play job. You know, have we actually, documented this thing in a serious way, copyright it? Because it's Grenada. There is no other place that play job like Grenada. And I hear Iowa with a job song, I hear Marshall, I hear them fellas up the road now with the job beat.
But does it have to evolve? Is it evolving? And how has Grenada's carnival changed culturally over the years?
Well, listen to me. What I notice here is that we have a lot of spectator mass in Grenada now. A lot of people looking on. And this thing, to be real serious about this thing, we're supposed to teach this thing in school, Children should be composing in school, composing calypso, getting that stimulus to write, to research how Granny lived, what she ate, what was the traditional way, what was the food like. We used to have maroon. People go help one another. Are these things going on now? We tend to we get, what I call deculturize, and we grab onto another culture. I sometimes say we become caught up with what we see on the television. We're going to hear some terms, because we see things on the television and we grab it and we run with it. But can we really identify with it? So we need to go back and check the way of life of Granny. Okay? The old folk medicine. Everybody now rush by it, they rush. I don't want to bash the doctors, but everybody rush. They get a little cold and they forget the Zeba pick. They forget the man better man. They forget the Chateau Benny. They forget the pity bomb. Everybody coming down now with all kind of cancer, all kind of, problems. And he had stuff that our parents use. The corn bed, the guinea hen, good for the prostrate. But we get so commercialized now to be even eating foreign. The children never been to America, but they want American breakfast. Some of them tell you they don't want no fig and sulfur sauce. We laughing, but it's real.
Yeah.
We change our taste and we creating waste in the place. It's because, listen, we import so much stuff that we could even produce here in Grenada. Look at all this soft drink we're drinking. And I'll be around the docks, and when I see all this soft drink that comes in every Friday from our neighbor in Trinidad.
So we can come back there.
Yeah.
Senator, you've been around for what, as a cultural artist, 40 plus years, Let's go back to the revolution. Okay, that's when we first learned about the senator. How did you integrate yourself culturally at this time? What happened in your life at that moment? What are the highlights there for you?
Well, most people would not admit, the positivity of the revolution. It brought gains to this country. It exposed young people. I was able to travel, extensively as a result of the revolution, highlighting the culture. We got to go to Cuba. We went to Nicaragua in the adult education program. Actually went as far as Bluefields in the jungle of Nicaragua, teaching the Mosquito Indian to read and write and performing poetry and drumming and all of that. We traveled and we brought the message of, that new day where you can tap into your talent and teach, educate, and motivate people of the positiveness. Let us build the country together, okay? Let us use our creativity, our talent. Let us explore. The people are hungry, to learn of your talent.
You could recall any specific verse or any Any verse of any of your work from those times?
I had you put me back into time zone, but I think my mental faculties are intact.
Let me hear
still.
let me hear one. Let me hear one. There's a military one. I know.
Oh yes, you know, in school they used to take us Queen's birthday parade. It's no longer the Queen, no, it's a can. But we used to go the can. So we used to be taken to Queen's Park.
Yeah.
And in the hot sun,
Yeah.
Queen's birthday parade.
Yeah.
And after you come out there, they bring you to school and they give you a rock ball and a glass of juice or a red spot or a Stroudies, a soft drink back then.
Okay.
And this is what I said, look. Brap! Brap! Parade in Queen's Park and all officials dressed in jacket and tie. If you see guns, you swear say that Grenada and Netto is good friends. 303 gun, 304 gun, 305 gun, 306 gun, 307 gun, 308 gun. You have water police, khaki police, kakaras police, beat and arrest police, reserve police, and a few police. Parade, right turn, left turn. All those who thief Grenada to make England rich, 1 step forward, 10 step backward, halt. OBE, only bastards eligible. CBE, continue building England. KCMG, Night Commander of the Mongoose Gang. You see who get award? You ever hear the poor man get? Parade, right turn, left turn, about turn. Parade, present arms. The Queen, no longer the Queen, the King is reigning. That is why all the subjects catch the cold.
This is excellent. To what did cultural expression during this period enhance the revolution, or was it able to contribute to national development?
Well, the culture actually is a vehicle.
Yeah.
That push the nation forward. Okay. Because the culture reflects what is taking place in society. It highlights the positive aspect. And you can deal with issues within the society using different cultural forms, okay? Poetry, drumming, calypso, reggae, dance, mime. These are vehicles you can use to deal with issues. And not only highlighting the issues, but you attack it in forms of what is the cause, the effect, and you give solutions. Yeah? Because sometimes we talk a lot about, you have unemployment. But how do we tackle unemployment? Okay? You come up with creative means. We can form.
Let's look at crimes, for example. We see in Grenada has seen an increase in crimes. Raising question about cultural influences, social media playing a part, but what cultural factors do you think contribute to the rise in crime in Grenada? What is driving this?
You see,
or do you see these as influences, as foreign, or is it homegrown? How do you?
Well, to start with, we don't make guns. Grenada don't produce no guns to start with, so the guns come from somewhere.
But we have machetes, we have cutlasses.
Yeah, but people are now, they find it more easy to pull the trigger than to pull a cutlass or to pelt a stone. So we have graduated, in terms of what took place. Again, is a foreign influence. People look at certain movies, they live fast, they want to get in the swing of things. And then you have the influence of even foreign drugs, okay? People want to be at a certain level, and when they get there, then you have the whole question of greed, and everybody then don't want to protect their turf or protect their gains. And when the people are hungry belly don't know wait. Hungry belly going to look to get food where he finds it, and he might go through the wrong means, and who has it might want to protect it. Okay, so the whole issue of as I say, the way of life and what influence, what people see, they can then say, well, they want to pattern that behavior.
But how can culture be used as a tool to reduce the crime and to foster a better sense of community, though?
Okay, because
culture has a role there?
Culturally, we have to use that as a vehicle to educate people, to bring the live situation to them. We can dramatize it. Look at what happened when you go down that way. You bring characters on stage. Okay? You see this young girl, she got shot because of what? Some misunderstanding. This guy he frustrated, he tripped. So you create that drama, that song, that poem live on stage so they can be part of that and learn from that expression. So the culture, and it mustn't be stifled. You know, we talk a lot, you know, and we don't go out there and deal with it, support it, because I don't want to trip off here. Look at most times when we have a foreign concert, we ram the stadium. When the local artists go in the same stadium, you could check.
Why? What's generating this?
Again, is the whole hype. Again, even okay. For example, the foreign music, they are promoted heavily. Okay, for example, in Jamaica, they promote reggae is their thing, and they will support it. So if we can copy that aspect of them when we have our calypso and we have our whatever we put on, we come out in numbers and support it. Love our stuff. And we could use some of the same Jamaican twang. Let us dance a yard before we dance abroad. Let us love what we have, cherish what we have, preserve what we have. Go in schools, teach the writing of calypsos, the bending of the wire, talk about the shango, talk about the wild Indian, talk about the jab, talk about the maypole, and actually have practical class. So the students will learn to appreciate what is theirs and not necessarily copy what they see on the television.
Television.
Yeah. You like that one?
Yeah, television.
Yeah, because of that.
Well, one of the things in it is that we just, recently, last year, a year ago, celebrated our 50th anniversary. Major celebration costing $22 million. And culture played a significant role. Was the cultural aspect of our 50th independence adequately celebrated and preserved and projected in your view?
Well, I must say that production to me was very impressive.
Which one?
The grand
one
at the stadium.
Okay.
And we see some people say money well spent. Maybe the verdict is still out on that, but in my opinion, it was very impressive. It was something of one in a lifetime. And listening people on the ground, it was a great show. However, do we pattern and go forward in that same vein? Okay, the aspect of it that, okay, did it uplift us to the level where we seek all that, because this thing was mind-blowing. So how do we sustain that vibes, that hype, okay, going forward? Are there avenues for the artists to break through in other boundaries, other territories? What is available for artists to go forward? Yes, there was a big forum, and I know of people registering and the whole creatives and all of that. So I trust that all is well in that department, and there are avenues that we can explore and sell Grenada to the world.
Okay. So you thought that that it was, or the cultural dimension of the celebration was adequately represented around the island, and besides in the large celebration that we had.
Yes, to a large extent.
And you would say that our culture is safe now. Are you satisfied that?
No. This is a ticklish one now. When we say safe, there is always room for improvement and development. Yeah. Because it's something dynamic.
Yes.
It's not something static. Because if we allow it to die a natural death or a slow death, so there is always room for improvement.
So let's use an example. Carnival, for example. Carnival. We've had Carnival for 75 years? It's a long time, going back to the earlier part of the last century. How has Carnival evolved? When we look at the streets now, you see very scant clothing.
Wow.
Senator, maybe you could tell me about that. What do you see on the streets?
Well, I was.
Is that our culture? Is that
I-
are you okay with this?
Then again, you see, we talk about influences, okay? Because the critics will say, well, it was a leg show, it was a body show.
Yeah.
People were next to nothing. Some people were shocked. Some people turned their heads in the other direction. So we have to look at this thing in a positive and constructive way. We have to set standards. Okay. Yes, you have your freedom. Okay. But we have to listen. Me, you bring your kids out there. What are you exposing your kids to? Because I see in the street things for the bedroom. In the street, and we come under the. It's carnival, man. We could just go crazy.
Free up yourself.
We go crazy for 2 days, and
Yeah.
then we say, "Oh, your sins are forgiven. Go and sin no more."
Yeah.
You know, so we have to be mindful of what we market. You know, what we market and what we want the children to look at and to see. Well, listen, I'm proud that I played in this. You know, much is left to be desired in regards to.
But the question is, how do you balance modern innovations in Carnival with the preservation of the traditional elements like the music and the costumes? How do you, as you say, it's evolving. So maybe that's what it's evolving to, Senator. I mean, you still have, of course, the old mass, or the traditional mass is still heavily promoted, like the Veco and the violin.
Yeah, but you don't. But even Anjuve, you don't really get the time
that.
to really see the old mass, which I love. You
Yeah.
know, where people bring out their creativity with the plaque.
Yeah.
It's like, and then again on the whole question of the jab, there must be some form of like control. I mean, man say how you could control. The fact remains that back in my days, jab, if you weren't a member of the band, you can't come and join the band. So it was chained off. Okay? So everybody now come, they just drop their hand in a drum and while they put on the bass, they play. No. Jab had to go to school. Jab had their own dictionary, their own means of spelling, their chant, their rhythm. You can't just walk in the jab band. And then when you look at the thing, the bands take too long to move along. There should be marshals.
Should we take responsibility? Should we take ownership of the jab beat? Is it ours, really?
Yeah, as far as I know, it is ours, and we should really lock it down.
How you do that?
Well, you have. I think they have copyright. They have whatever forum where you have to. You can. I'm looking for the right.
It's like Jamaican music, reggae music. I mean, it's Jamaican, but it's everywhere. Same thing with jab. What happened? How do you?
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, jab is actually played in all the major cities now. Okay.
Yeah.
New York, Miami, Baltimore, but
London
is a Grenada influence.
Yes.
Okay. Some people might water it down, but when you talk jab, I believe jab is Grenadian.
Yeah.
How we preserve it, or how we can't say shelf it in a way, but we have to make it Grenadian.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that's happening, and culture is a dynamic thing. Grenada is moving towards the decriminalization of cannabis, which has cultural and social implications. What cultural impacts do you foresee from the decriminalization of cannabis in Grenada?
Well, to be honest with you, Byron, I find we a lot of talk going on in Grenada with regards to this whole cannabis thing. I mean, say I've been up a couple of the islands, and trust me, Grenada behind. I mean, see, the church might have a stand, the police might have a stand, the judiciary might have a stand in this thing. But we wasted time. I've been to the States many years ago, and I went to Kentucky. I drive from here to Sotes, and everything pension, but why I think what behind it is ganja. And they tell you for medical research and so on. In mighty America. In Canada. Belgium. Major city. It's no secret. That's a ganja oil.
But are you concerned what can
negative
aspects of it?
Because I say the verdict is still off because people are saying, oh, they associate madness, mental illness, a lot of different stuff. But the people who have the prescription to use medical marijuana. And it has been proven that marijuana has medical properties. But again, you see, a lot of stuff that beam to us or what they choose to send to us, make it. So we have all this misconception, but they are dealing with it in a large way and making lots of revenue from it. So we need to seriously adjust.
So you don't think this will have any negative cultural...
But then again, there has to be this whole program of education too.
Yeah.
Within everything you have to have limitations. Yeah. It's not like you could just walk and do what you want and feel. Because just last week I met a good friend of mine, and I see walking on Vex, and he tell me the police hold him with a ganja tree, one ganja tree, and he had to call the lawyer.
Okay.
And the lawyer tell him, well, this thing had to be sorted out because look, that issue now is being dealt with.
Okay. Okay, so hopefully.
Yeah.
So Senator, we're going to continue the conversation. But viewers, we're going to take a short break because there's another dimension of our program that we want to add. And when we come back, I'm going to tell you all about it. So stay with us. We'll be back in a moment.
Yeah.
At Maitland's Motor Sales and Rentals, we sell engines for all makes of vehicles. Toyota GT Corolla 6-speed, Toyota MR2 and Evolution 3. We've got transmissions for Toyota Noah, 2.0 Suzuki Escudo, Toyota Corolla. Windscreens for Grand Vitara, 2 and 4-door Escudo, Toyota Corolla front and back, and Suzuki Escudo wheel covers. Also available are motor oil, oil filters, crystal headlights for Toyota Corolla, brakes for all makes of vehicles. We sell C16 and Q16 racing fuel. Special prices on oils and accessories for customers who purchase vehicles from us. You're never left undone because we source the part if we don't have it. Maitland's Motor Sales and Rentals, empowering people through mobility.
Hello, welcome back, viewers, to MTV Community Forum. I'm your host, Byron Campbell. We've been talking to Senator for the past half an hour, and we have another guest with us. Her name is Shiloh Alexander. Shiloh is a student, but most important, she's an advocate also, and a cultural advocate also. So Shiloh, good evening and welcome to Community Forum.
Good evening.
It's our pleasure to have you. You've made history tonight. You're the youngest guest ever appearing on MTV Community Forum. So we're very pleased to have you.
Thank you so much.
So, Shiloh, I know as an advocate, you're concerned about a number of issues.
Yes.
And one of them is youth advocacy, the question of to what extent youth has a voice in community, in development, you know. What do you see as the limitation to that expression right now, and that advocacy? What are the inhibitants that doesn't allow you for a full expression at this point?
Well, I believe that the youth nowadays have to sort of compete with the many expectations of society around them. I feel like with social media, there are so many various influences that young people have around them. Negative as well as positive, but it's hard for the youth to be able to appreciate their uniqueness. One of my personal mottos is that authenticity is the best policy, and a lot of youth do not just do not have that proper guidance a lot of times because of traditional mindsets within our own country. Yes, there is the issue of traditional careers, but also I feel like even with conversing with my own peers at school and within my community, they've expressed that Grenada and the people in power as well, they tend to have a very narrow mindset and view on the way life should be lived and the way in which they can express themselves.
What examples of this?
Examples
of the limitations that you're talking about?
Well, for one instance, I believe that mental health is a really big part of it. And I believe if a nation, especially when they're at a very young age, it's important to be able to have that support to move forward with mental health and strength. And one of the biggest issues that my peers have confided in me and with me is the fact that they do not have confidential support systems that are open-minded and understanding into fostering communities and avenues for them to be able to speak.
These are formal systems that are set up by the state?
At school, in the state, and just in their community. I feel like a lot of the times the youth just need an open mind, someone who is willing to listen, and there's just not enough of that in our country. So I feel like, yes, professional help is very much needed in our country, because really and truly, how can we move forward ever, backward never, if the youth are mentally stagnant, you know? And
Senator, you know that phrase?
Yeah, that was a phrase
forward ever,
heavily in
never,
the
yes.
forward ever.
I'm to understand that there is, where is freedom, and what does it mean that you perform this because you have cultural interests, a lot of cultural interests. And so tonight, Shiloh, we want to hear this. We want to hear this. And we know that you performed this at the award ceremony, the 50th award ceremony held in St. David's earlier this year. So can you do this for us?
I absolutely can. You know, just before I read it, I would just like to pretty much explain why poetry is so important to me.
Please,
yes.
Absolutely.
So ever since I was extremely young, I've just been thank you very much. I've been very much, I feel like the arts have always called to me in a way. And sometimes words in itself cannot capture the intensity of emotion, of feeling, and that's why I'm so interested in the arts, not just poetry, but with painting, drawing, dancing, acting. I believe all of it is very important.
Are these communication tools, though?
Yes, absolutely. Even in culture, with drumming, singing, folklore, from way back in history, we've seen how the arts and creative expression has led our people to be resilient, to tell their own stories, and to express identity and cultural identity as well. And for me, poetry and singing, mainly those two, are my ways of communicating who I am, my identity, and what I have to offer. Yes.
Beautiful. While you're finding this, the government recently, of course, have formalized the youth parliament by a process of electing young people, electing themselves, among themselves, individuals or leaders among themselves, to form this youth parliament. What are your views on this? What purpose do you see this from a strengthening of preparing young persons for future roles in governance and wherever? How important is this exercise? How do you view it?
Well, firstly, I must commend this administration, because I absolutely 100% believe that youth should not be limited by their age, no matter what. I believe as long as you are competent and willing to make an actual change, once you are given the avenue and the various tools to do so, and the platform, as well as with education on it, of course, I believe this Youth Parliament initiative is very important, because young people should have a say in their own future, and they cannot do that in 100 years, 150 years. A lot of people believe that Grenada is behind, and the only way we can move forward and become more open-minded and inclusive is for us to act now. So I believe that this platform is absolutely wonderful, and I support it 100%. Yes, especially even I was a part of the Youth Parliament Parish initiative in St. David's, and it was absolutely transformational.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Well, one of the issues facing the world, certainly ourselves, is the question of climate change.
Very true.
And clearly, among our population, we feel that enough is not being done to preserve or to reduce the implications of climate change. That as users of resources, we've clearly been reckless and not sufficiently been responsible for future generations and the quality and type of lives they're going to have. How do you view this this issue, and what are some of the actions that you would in fact advocate?
Well, of course, climate change affects us all, and I believe that oftentimes people hear climate change and they'll be like, I'm tired of hearing it. The people are just going on and they're droning on, but really and truly, climate change affects us all. It's the world in which we live in. And again, I have to commend this administration, because forums and international forums are and discussions are being held within our region and globally for us to be able to come together as one Caribbean nation and worldwide to be able to speak on what can be done. You know, the United Nations especially, they're having the 2030 agenda, for example. They are ensuring that all 193 members of the UN are coming together so that we may actually move forward and discuss policies and initiatives that can be developed regionally and nationwide in countries, especially small island developing states such as Grenada. And I believe the most important thing that can be done, aside from, you know, political discussions, is our people, our citizens taking those steps to ensure that we have a world to live in the next day, in the next week, in the next month, you know, and for future generations. So I believe that our people, and you know, it might sound cliche, but recycling is very important, ensuring that we take care of our environment, not just littering. And people say Grenada is a very clean place, but even the proper disposal of waste in production, I believe that is very important. Like, for example, Perseverance, that has a lot of waste going up there. And
solid waste.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So just the protection of our environment by ensuring that you dispose waste correctly, especially for business, in business development. I feel like in the production process, we have to ensure that our waste is discarded of properly. And, you know, just those small steps that we can take at home, planting a tree, it really does go a long way. Yes, it really does.
And Shiloh, I'm coming to the cultural dimension, but I just want to ask Senator this issue here, because I know your presence. You've been on the port a lot. You've worked as an officer there for some time, I know. What do you make of from a sustainability point of view, the question of our transport? Present situation where we are a population of 120,000, and we have over 65,000 registered vehicles, and we still have as much as 300 to 500 a month coming in, Senator.
Wow.
Well, I want to hear you on this.
Well, as being around the port, you know, as a custom broker,
Yes.
it blows my mind when I see the volume, the amount of vehicles that comes in on a monthly basis. And I reminisce on my past teacher of economics and history, George Brizan. He says that a country that imports more than it exports is having problem. It is what is called an unfavorable balance of trade. And I am wondering if Grenada is Hiroshima. Hiroshima is supposed to be a city in Japan.
Yes.
Because the amount of cars that comes in. And within, we have what, 5 days, 5 working days without rent.
It brings revenue to the government.
Yes, but then it brings revenue, but we have a lot of revenues leaving as well. It's foreign exchange going out to bring it in. But at the same time, when the boat comes next, the boat should also bring roads. Because we have a set of vehicles, people don't have place. You check out the traffic situation now, and you're going to get worse. Because the boat is coming before the end of the month with some more vehicles.
This month?
Yes, this month. So what is happening is that Liquor Grenada, we have over 65,000 vehicles registered and just around 110,000 people. And what you're going to see is you have to get to Granans or SGU, you might have to leave home since 4 in the morning. Because the traffic is, and then you have vehicles parking on the side of the road. So in case of emergency, a fire, the ambulance coming, we're going to, we have to stop and really take a look at
so
this.
So it's the same thing with food, Senator? Give me something on the food situation.
It baffles me when I see the amount of stuff we import, especially from neighboring Trinidad. All that, soft drink, and we talk about children, affecting children's health and all that snack and so on. It's amazing. So it's like we no longer consume what we grow here or what we can produce here. Eat what you grow and grow what you eat, you must benefit. That was a popular chant.
There's a health dimension.
Of course. Because what we get is not the real McCoy. So look at it. The national dish to me, we talk independence coming up and all of that. The national dish to me is no longer oil down.
What is it?
It's chicken and fries. And the national drink is Coca-Cola. No, seriously. And then you hear people saying, obesity, and they have all kind of liquor problems going on. They don't want to walk up Marketeer, they don't want to walk to go to convent or PVC.
So health is crucial.
Health is crucial.
Because it's going to have a cost.
Of course.
Going forward.
Yes.
Yeah? So let's go back to the culture. Shiloh. So yes, where is freedom and what does it mean?
Yeah.
We want to hear you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
I have a question for you, and you, and all of you. Where is freedom, and what does it mean? Is it the warmth in the smiles of the people on this isle called Greens, capturing the iridescent glow of the rising sun, with faces aglow, faces exuding love and hope? Maybe it's hidden in the aggressive gush of the winding rivers, telling the agonizing stories of 1,000 writhing soldiers. Search and scour aren't needed to find my Grenadian freedom. An insatiable sensation, so vibrant that it resounds when I warble the precious lyrics of Belafonte's Island in the Sun. I feel Mama Isle's freedom when I gaze upon George's Mount. It bubbles deep within my soul, harnessing the pandemonium of the bloodbath o'er the fort, daring to erupt like a stoic Kikem-Jenny. The nation's freedom courses through my very veins as I prance in harmony to the buzzing rhythmic tune of the African Grenadian drummer's beats, reminding me of my chainless limbs, a true sign of liberation.
Whoa.
And I want to chip in here now.
Yeah.
It's the gold they want. The gold, the gold, the gold. Shiloh is gold. Her mommy is gold. Your great-grandmother, mother, father is gold. When them colonialists came here, they beat us, they raped us, they accused us, and they refused us for the gold. the goal, the goal. Granance is goal, Granite Tang is goal, Mount St. Catherine is goal, the Hot Spring is goal, Batway is goal, La Sagesse is goal, Carriacou is goal, Pitimatic is goal. The goal they want. The goal, the goal, the goal. Sell one great colonialist to another. I did not come here to Christianize them, but I came here to rob them of their gold. They took us like honey and sold us for money. It's the goal they want. Preserve your goal and don't lose your soul for your goal. The goal they want. Poetry is goal. Calypso is goal, Jab is goal, Shango is goal, Wild Indian, Shortly. All aspect of our culture is goal. Is the goal they want. The goal, the goal, the goal. Shiloh, you are goal.
Yeah. Wow. This is amazing. Shiloh, I'm so impressed, really.
Oh, thank you.
That listening to you give me hope, you know, and that's important.
Yes,
you
it
know,
is.
Because you know, Senator, I'm really glad she came along, Shiloh came along, and to have this expression, you know. But Shiloh, what are I mean? So you're with young people, but yet we're hearing. There's a lot of distraction taking place there,
Yeah.
particularly, and let me make this point, that we hear the numbers, whether it's at tertiary level, at secondary level, in terms of passing CXC, that the young male is not performing as well as the young female here. So there's a bit of a dislocation there. What do you think is driving this? Why are they? And this is positive, by the way, that the females are in fact
Absolutely,
doing very well.
Very
you know,
true.
and this is in subjects that previously were limited to males, like engineering and these type of technological careers. But what are keeping the young male and from where in your school, in your institution, and also just what it is, but what can be done to improve the present situation? Our prisons are primarily
Filled with males,
primarily
yeah.
young males that are there. So we do have a problem. As a
Very
young
much so.
person yourself, how do you analyze this? How do you see this?
Well, like you said, of course, it is very positive that there is female empowerment, especially within our country and in this country, in the Caribbean country, where before traditional roles for females were always imposed, you know? And of course, even then, there has always been a very much maternal sense of, you know, in the family. The mother was often the breadwinner. The mother was and is still very much in charge of the household, and that has taught our females to go out there and you know, be proactive in our own future, because I'm female.
Yeah.
You know, but I feel like with our young men, oftentimes, I don't want to say that they're definitely not forgotten, but there can be more done for them, and I believe that begins at home as well. So in the education system and at home, because when you look at, you know, inside the household, how many young men have a positive, strong male influence within their home, raising them from a very young age? Now, a lot of females might say it's the very same for them, but you know, you'd think that these young males, it's not a sense of importance as they go on, that they find their own sense of empowerment, that they're strong and they're male, but do they know that it's okay to embrace their own emotions? Do they know that it's okay to express themselves? Do they have that strong male figure from since they were very young to teach them how to go about life from the perspective of a male, of a man? And I mean a true man who goes out there, provides for his family, provides for himself, and does not look for his identity in worldly aspects, but in his authenticity, what makes him unique, how he empowers himself. So I believe it all starts at home. And for those males who do not have those positive influences within their household, for them to find it at school. Because you've heard the saying before, it takes a village to raise a child,
That's
right?
correct, yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when the household is lacking, the community comes together, and that's where it all begins. The community, and part of that is in school and education. So yeah, I believe that once you have various people involved and you have those strong male figures guiding young males, that there will be less violence. And of course, mental health as well. It is very much taboo. People, when you bring up the topic of mental health, people think, so the pink house. So people who are crazy. And depression, sometimes you speak to somebody about depression and they say, well, you're lacking a connection with God and you simply need to be more into your Bible and all of that. And yes, that's amazing, perfect. Of course, I'm a Christian myself, but I also believe that you have these avenues that are available, and it's important to utilize them. Because, like I said before, we cannot expect our nation to thrive, both male and female, if their mental states are not catered to.
One of the issues, let me just raise this. Australia recently banned social media for 16 and under.
Okay.
So you have to be an adult over 16. And that's one of the reasons put forward, that is creating a lot of social issues, social health issues among young people. Do you think that this is something that should be considered in a country like Grenada? Social media ban?
So the thing, I know there's a lot of controversy around it, and I want to thank you for that question because it's actually very important.
Yeah.
So I believe that everything should be consumed in moderation, right? And while social media has a tendency to distract and even cause a loss of identity in our youth and adults as well, I believe that there must be a balance. And social media provides avenues and platforms for our young people to express themselves and market themselves, their business. You know, I believe that social media is not a negative thing, but everything must be used in moderation. Even for myself, when I find myself being distracted by the influences on social media, I need to take a pause. I need to understand that the world that is portrayed on the screen, it's all tweaked. It's not raw, and they do not portray the rough times that you go through. They do not portray the raw truths of life all the time on social media, and if they do, it's in a glamorized version, and it leaves a lot of people feeling lost. So I do not believe that social media should be banned, as it is an important platform that drives innovation and even marketing for young minds such as myself and even younger who have a lot to offer into the world. However, it is up to the guardians and adults in their lives to monitor what they consume, how they consume it, and everything in moderation, as I said.
Well, what is briefly, and I'm clearly running out of time, what are some of the other issues that you think is important as an advocate yourself that are important in the community that young people need to speak up about and that need to be highlighted? You talk about, of course, the question of health.
Yeah.
But what others exist? What other issues for you?
I believe, well, you brought it up earlier. You did ask Senator about, his concerns about the usage of marijuana.
Yeah.
And personally, I do not believe marijuana should be banned in our country. But not only marijuana, I believe, because our youth are so misguided, and they, like I said before, they do not have that foundation all the time at home. They search for that comfort in gangs, in violence. They're trying to find out who they are, and they simply do not have these role models. And whilst there are amazing role models such as Senator and other amazing people, I believe that they do not have people who are their same age, their own peers, encouraging them to seek for a better life than what has been repeated in history countless times. And I believe that more young people should be more encouraged in our communities to stand up for what they believe, their own issues that need to be addressed, you know, because I might see things in one light, but I cannot be the only voice advocating for the problems that I see that need to be addressed.
As a community, are we giving sufficient responsibilities to young persons? Are we making them sufficiently accountable? Are we giving them enough responsibilities? Not just tasks, but in terms of performance responsibilities in the community, in the society, in the schools and elsewhere. Is that happening sufficiently?
Well, I can see more and more of it happening in schools, especially. I have observed that in various schools there are different initiatives that the staff and the board come up with so that their students can be more involved in the community. And I believe that the whole idea of education, especially universal education, has been transformed within these past few years, especially since COVID came about. And I see more of our young people having more of that avenue to express themselves and pretty much address the problems within their own communities and take responsibility for taking action for that. And it, of course, starting in the classroom, starting in their schools where they have their peers and they can influence them. And that's all important so that they can build that confidence from within, from that institution that supports them, so that they might be able to go out in the community, nationally, regionally, and make a positive influence on the world around them. And that's what it's all about.
Shiloh, we have to, I'm running out of time, but we have, you're going to come back, yes?
Absolutely.
You said so. Senator, you have the final say,
Yes.
final closing comments, yes?
You know, we have to end on a light note, I
Yes,
think.
of course.
You know, I once did a bit of stand-up comedy, you know, and, you know, laughter is good for the soul.
Absolutely, yeah.
So in school, you know, they taught us a lot about, you know, greatness. Malcolm X was great.
Yes.
Martin Luther, Mahatma Gandhi, Winston Churchill, Morris Bishop, Eric Geary was great.
Yeah.
The greatest walk the face of the earth, Jesus Christ. But ladies and gentlemen, tonight I'm here to prove to you beyond a shadow of doubt that this is greater.
Oh my babes.
Let us end on a high tone.
I want to, Senator, I want to really thank you for. I love it. I want to, we out of time, clearly. Viewers, thank you very much. We'll see you next week. And again, I said our co-host, Chris, will be back with us next week. And have a great week. We'll see you next time. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Thanks for having me.